Ayako was born into a powerful Yakuza family, but life was never normal. While other children played freely and lived without fear, Ayako grew up surrounded by guards, secrets, and the heavy weight of her family name. Her father's power gave her protection, but it also placed her in a world where danger followed every step she took. From a young age, Ayako grew up surrounded by guards, secrecy, money, and fear. Her home was filled with luxury, but every locked door and whispered conversation reminded her that danger was never far away. While others saw wealth and power, Ayako saw the invisible walls that kept her protected, watched, and trapped. Ayako's father was a feared Yakuza boss, respected deeply by his men and feared by anyone who dared to cross him. To his followers, he was a powerful leader who demanded loyalty and gave protection in return. But to his enemies, he was a dangerous man whose silence was often more terrifying than his anger. Even though Ayako lived in luxury, she was watched consistently and rarely experienced true freedom. Expensive clothes, elegant rooms, and endless gifts surrounded her, but none of it could hide the fact that every move she made was monitored. To the outside world, she looked like a princess, but inside the walls of her father's empire, Ayako felt more like a prisoner. People treated Ayako differently because of her family name. Some lowered their eyes in fear when she walked by, knowing who her father was and what he was capable of. Others smiled too kindly, hoping to use her connections to gain favor, protection, or power. Ayako quickly learned that it was hard to know who truly cared for her and who only saw the Yakuza name she carried. Ayako's childhood was shaped by strict rules, consistent protection, and the heavy pressure of carrying her father's reputation. She was taught to speak carefully, trust very few people, and never forget the power behind her family name. Every choice she made reflected not only on herself, but her father's empire, making her feel like she had to grow up faster than other children. As Ayako got older, she began to understand the violent world her family was part of. The whispers behind closed doors, the sudden disappearances, the fear in the people's eyes started to make sense. What once seemed like simple rules for protection became clear signs of a dangerous life built on power, loyalty, and bloodshed. Ayako soon realized that loyalty in the Yakuza came with serious consequences, and betrayal could be deadly. The men around her spoke of honor and respect, but she saw how quickly those words could turn into punishment when someone broke trust. In her father's world, loyalty was not just expected, it was demanded, and anyone who betrayed the family risked losing everything. Ayako's father tried to protect her from the darkest parts of his life, keeping the violence, deals, and enemies hidden behind closed doors. He wanted her to see him as a father before seeing him as a Yakuza boss. But as Ayako grew older, the truth became harder to hide, and she realized she could not stay innocent in a world built on secrets and blood. Ayako struggled between loving her father as family and fearing what he represented. To her, he was the man who protected her, raised her, and showed her moments of kindness no one else ever saw. But on the outside world, he was a powerful Yakuza boss, whose name brought fear, violence, and control, leaving Ayako torn between her heart and the truth of who he is. Relationships became complicated for Ayako because anyone close to her could become a target. Friends, classmates, or anyone who showed her kindness risked being pulled into the dangerous world surrounding her family. Ayako wanted real connections, but fear always followed her, making her wonder if caring for someone would only put them in harm's way. Ayako was forced to decide whether to accept the life she was born into or try to escape it. The Yakuza world had given her wealth, protection, and power, but it had also taken away her freedom and peace. Deep down, Ayako knew that choosing her own path could mean turning against everything her family stood for. Ayako's story centers on power, family, loyalty, danger, isolation, and the cost of being tied to organized crime. Her family name gives her protection and respect, but it also traps her in a world filled with fear and impossible choices. As she grows older, Ayako must face the truth that loyalty to her family may come at the price of her own freedom. By the end, Ayako's biggest conflict was whether her identity truly belonged to her or to the Yakuza name she inherited. All her life, people had judged her by her father's power, her family's reputation, and the dangerous world she came from. But deep inside, Ayako wanted to know who she could become if she was finally free to choose her own path. Ayako's story is only the beginning of a journey that will take her life through many twists and turns. She will face conflict, danger, and difficult choices, but she will also create timeless memories with the people she meets along the way. If this is a story you would like to see more of, leave a comment and a like below. Thank you.